Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. RDAP Dan here, Federal Prison Time Consulting. Hope you guys are all having a great evening and hope some of you are still awake. It's 10 p.m. East Coast, 7 p.m. on the West Coast, and we're just going to have a little conversation tonight. A little Motivation Monday. I was feeling a little bit restless, couldn't really sleep, so I thought, why not come on here and chat with you guys for a little bit? So here we are. Give everybody a few minutes. We're about maybe 2 minutes early. I'm having a little green tea here, still under the weather, so a little iced green tea. And while we wait, if you haven't taken a moment yet, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap on the notifications so those are on. Just make sure you're getting our streams, guys. We try to be as upbeat and positive as possible. I know many of you are probably awake right now, just stressing a little bit. It's a brand new week. We're almost at the end of another month. We're in 2020. Some of you are getting ready for possible sentencing or getting ready to go self-surrender. So I thought we would just talk a little bit with you guys. Roy, you don't like my brick wall? It looks better than a white wall behind me, so I have a brick wall. No making fun of the brick wall. Jessica, what's going on? Chicago, new viewer. Well, welcome, Jessica. I'm glad you could join us. Hopefully, I don't know if you're going through something yourself or a friend or a family member. If you or one of your loved ones is going through a very stressful period as you're getting ready, maybe you're under federal indictment, you've just been indicted. If you're going through something difficult, I suggest there's a link in the description of this video. Free consultation. Go ahead and put yourself on the schedule. Give us a call. I know it's you, Freshco. I didn't want to throw you under the bus. Michael Freshco just wrote me an amazing character reference letter for something for I'm dealing with. So I really appreciate that, Mike. Jessica, sorry to hear that. Hey, Michael B., what's going on? Long time. Still making the videos, not quite as frequent as I used to. Just with the schedule, it's gotten busier and busier. But I'm trying to get back into the video groove because this is really, the videos is probably my favorite part of doing all of this. And the late nights, the late night stuff, you know, I really remember what I was going through late at night as I was getting ready to go. And those sleepless nights where you just stare at the ceiling or stare at the wall, or you kind of get lost in your thoughts and you're trying to find out all of these things, what you can do to kind of control the outcome. And sometimes you just really have to kind of let go. Speaking of letting go, kind of what we're going to talk about tonight on the whole motivational side is you really have to find an outlet. For some of you, it might be, reading different books, influencers, possible people like Tony Robbins, the Bible, going to the gym, calling a mentor, calling a friend. You really have to find something that can break that frustration that you have in that moment when you get lost in your mind and you're trying to figure out how you're going to deal with all of this and the negativity seems so overwhelming and you start really dwelling on that negativity. You have to find positivity in your life that can break through that and give yourself some time to realize that this negative feeding you're giving this is not going to be helpful or useful. And it's not going to allow you to be proactive. It's going to completely create the opposite. So these are actual books that were sent to me while I was in prison. One, of course, the Bible, which as of this year, I've started actually rereading it again. I haven't really read the Bible a whole lot since I left prison. I picked it up here and there. And this is just your basic, it's every man's Bible. It's the NLT version. And for me, it was I forced myself to do it in prison. It wasn't like, ooh, I get to get up and read the Bible today. I was trying to create new habits. So I would make myself either in the morning or in the afternoon, right before afternoon count time, or before bed. At some point within one of those 3 time periods, I would force myself to read the Bible for anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes maybe a little bit longer if I kind of got into it. But I forced myself to do it because I was so against it. I was so against religion going into prison. And what I realized is I really didn't have a whole lot of concept of religion and the Bible. I would talk a lot of trash about it, really just kind of talk down about it, almost argue with people that would preach. Not preach, but just even talk in a positive light about it. I would almost want to attack them for it. And finally, I came to the understanding of why am I doing this? And I really didn't have a reason. So I thought, if I'm going to talk so much shit about something, maybe I should at least know what's in it. The Bible's not going to be for everybody. Is every story in the Bible true? I don't know. I have no idea. But I can tell you that it can definitely get you grounded. It can get your mind right. It can get you refocused on positivity because there's a lot of affirmations in the Bible. This was also sent to me. And this I've started reading again the beginning of this year. This is just a daily devotional, a quick reads. I mean, we're talking like today's read was, if you look at it, wrong date there, sorry. Scrolling through, looking at it. What's today? Today was February 24th, right? February 24th. It just talks about being still in the light. And it's a little a couple of paragraphs right there. That's all it is, just that page. So it's not like you have to sit here and dedicate tons and tons of time. But just reading this positivity and kind of being still in the light, it just really brings you back to the thought of you really need to ground yourself and you need to focus. You need to remember that you don't have control over everything. And when you try to control all of these moving parts around you right now, there's so many moving parts. And it's been a real stress for me in the last couple of weeks. Going into the new year and taxes, and I find myself bitching and complaining and moaning. And then I remember where I was a couple of years ago, and even before that, before prison, what my life was like, not paying taxes and doing all these things that probably weren't the most up and up. Prison was a refocus in my life that really allowed me to ground myself and set some positive goals, change some mindsets, and do my best to go forward with that. And there are days that are easier than others being out here in the free world. And recently in the free world, I've gotten really complacent, running a business and a YouTube channel and dealing with all the things life and my kids and bills. You guys, I don't have to preach to you. You guys have all these same problems I have. But I found myself almost like complaining and forgetting how good that I actually have it versus how many other people, like the people that are probably watching this channel right now for most of you. Anthony Ganji, what's going on, my man? Tear Talk in the house. Anthony, I owe you a call. I've been absolutely swamped. Jenny has been deathly sick, so I've been doing a lot of her work. Hey, Brett, what's going on, my man? I'm glad you found us too. But Anthony, I owe you a call or a text message or probably both of those. But Tom said you got a hold of him or he reached out. I told him you're a good guy. He didn't know who you were at first. I said, give him a call. He's not just your typical corrections channel. He's trying to bridge the gap. So I don't know if Tom reached back out to you, but definitely follow up with Tom Root. I think Tom should come on your channel. Anthony would be great. So when I was laying there tonight, getting ready to go to bed, I was actually laying down, getting ready to watch an episode of Peaky Blinders. Don't know if you guys watched that. It's a show on Netflix. Amazing. I'm kind of hooked on it. I could definitely binge out on that show probably for like 3 days straight if I didn't have a life. But anyway, that's what I was going to do. And then I thought about what I was telling myself earlier today is there's so many things that we could be doing more of. There's so many tasks, so many assignments that we know we have in front of us that we just don't do. We come up with reasons, excuses. I don't make as many YouTube videos, and my excuses are, I'm too busy. I've got all these other things going on. And instead of laying down and watching Peaky Blinders, and I'm still going to do that. When this is done, I'm going to go finish what I was doing, and then I'm going to go watch an episode or two of Peaky Blinders. But why not get this out of the way? And not only get this out of the way, but I always feel so much better after doing, especially the late night videos. These late night videos, they kind of they get rid of all of my negative energy that's just kind of humming around in my brain. And remembering what you guys were going through, because I was going through it. God, those late nights of really just thinking about the unknown. What's sentencing going to be like? What's the judge going to do? What kind of plea deal are they going to offer me? I'm so sick of my friends and family telling me, this is going to be fine. They're not going to sentence me to prison. I'm so sick of hearing that. Or other people are just, they give you all of these, you're hearing so much clutter in so many different directions that it's like just hearing a ton of voices in your head. And sometimes you're like, I don't want to hear any of this. And that's how I felt when I was going through my pre-trial phases. After I got indicted, even before indictment, even prior, once I knew I was a target of an investigation that went on for, felt like fucking eternity. It was from 2011 to 2014, but it was a long 2 years. It's just mind-blowing and heartbreaking. And, every time you look at your loved one's face, whether it's your wife or your husband or your kids or your father, your mother, you look at these people and you're like, man, I don't even know really what to say to them or how to explain what I'm going through because I don't know what I'm going through. It's almost like you're dead inside. You're just watching yourself go through the motions from like a outer body experience. And there's people in here, especially in the room now that we've been here long enough, people like Freshco or Roy Hobbs, his AKA in here. If you guys talk to Roy was coming to this channel before he went to prison. He became a client of ours. He went to prison. He got into RDAP. He's almost finished now. He's on home confinement. He's gone through the halfway house. He's now in the final stage of home confinement, and then he'll start his supervised release of probation. And seeing people go through the process, go in and come out, and see them on the other side now, it's reconfirming that I wasn't just lucky. I didn't just get lucky to where prison ruins everybody, but it didn't ruin me. You know what I mean? You wonder, you're like, man, did I just somehow get through this unscathed? And I wouldn't say I got through it unscathed, but I chose to do my time my way. I really fought not allowing the time to do me. I know you hear that a lot and so cliche, but the reality is that you have an option when you go to prison. You can either fall in line and do prison the way everybody else is doing it and get caught up in a lot of the bullshit. And for those of you that are going to camps or low securities, there's going to be cell phones and drugs and alcohol running rampant throughout the prison. You won't see a lot of fights and violence, so that's not going to be your biggest concern. But if you're the type of personality that gets involved in dumb stuff pretty easy, or you're really craving to be accepted amongst different groups, you really have to be careful because you can really screw up your time. And I'm hoping and praying that we have a client that should be getting out in the next several months. You've seen his mom on here quite a bit. His name is Mr. McCullough, Ian McCullough. And he's just really had a rough go. He's went from the camp to the lows to mediums, getting shots, getting kicked out of RDAP. Younger kid. And he's not a bad kid. He's younger. And he allowed his temper to get the best of him a couple times and really caused himself to be in prison a lot longer than necessary, but also go through a lot of the turmoil, a lot of the bullshit that you hear about, the horror stories that you hear about. This is a guy that went through it, that could have avoided it. And I'm sure at the end of the day, he's got some amazing cautionary tales to share with individuals like you that might also think, I have it all figured out. I'm going to go through this and not going to get in any trouble. Many people will get their head split. Not literally, but just kind of metaphorically, you will go through issues that you did not expect because you got too complacent, too calm in your situation, and you need to stay on guard. Mr. Pan, hey Dan, hope all is well. Quick question. What's your take on Steve Avery case on Netflix doc, Making Murder? Personally feeling, I don't really, here's the thing I've learned. Whenever you have cameras involved and directors and editors, it's almost impossible to know the truth. And this is the reason why many of you probably remember several months back, I told you I was going to be gone for a couple of months. The whole reason was I had agreed to go do the TV show 60 Days In, the A&E show. I was going to be gone for 60 days. They were going to bring me back into a county jail. They were going to pretend I was an inmate. I was going to be in this jail setting to report the wrongdoings of the jail, stuff that guards were doing and if drugs were rampant through the jails. I was going to go in there to try to expose this and try to lessen the corruption in the jail system. However, after watching season after season after season after season, the common denominator, what I found from that show and many like it, is they really had no interest in exposing anything. They had interest in the drama, the bullshit, and the interviews the interviews that I could find after the show was over from a lot of these individuals was none of it was real. Yes, what happened, but the editing was so chopped up that they created stuff that never really happened, just to make it interesting and juicy. And they really painted a lot of these guys in a horrible light. So it really kind of jaded my experience on anything where a camera is involved, including, you guys have seen videos that we edit, some of like the last video we did with the compassionate release, that was an hour-long interview that I cut down to 20 minutes. So for all like what crazy stuff that I cut out, there's a combination of wanting to give you guys as much value as possible. And there's also a combination of, I got to keep everybody interested. So I have to try to find that balance which is why I like doing the live videos, because it's you don't think, you just go. What's going on, Casey? Casey Cochran, one of my best buddies. Casey's got a YouTube channel. If any of you are looking at starting any type of fitness program, fitness meals or healthy meal prepping, or you want to start ordering from a meal prep company, Casey's got an amazing meal prep company here in South Florida called Fit Food Fresh. He was actually, when I got out of prison, he was awesome enough to give me a job when many others wouldn't, allowing me to work from my own little office, which allowed me also to create some YouTube videos. But he's now got a YouTube channel kind of talking about the entrepreneurship side of starting a meal prep business. So you guys should definitely go check out Casey's channel. All you got to do is click on his name. He's in the description right now, or in the chat log topping. But Eckhart Tolle, you've been a fan of him for as long as I can remember, Mr. Cochran. But yeah, guys, you have to remember that what you're going through right now isn't something that you can wish away. And it's also not something that you can control the outcome of. What you can control is your thoughts and your actions. And if the better your thought process is, the better the decisions you're making is, the likelihood, the better the outcome is going to be as well, right? Because you're putting in work, you're putting in effort. You're not just thinking to myself, well, I'm going to buy my way out of this. I'm going to spend, top dollar on attorney's fees. Not to say that that won't help, but I can promise you that's not enough. And many of the individuals in this room that have either gone from high-priced attorneys or federally appointed attorneys will tell you that it's almost the same outcome. The difference is what you're doing on your own. And if you don't know what to do on your own, that's where you're falling short. You're guessing. You have all of these options. It's almost looking at like a hurricane getting ready to hit Florida when it's still, 5 days away. It's going to hit Palm Beach. It's going to hit Orlando. It's going to hit the Keys. And you've got all these little spaghetti strings, different paths. You have no idea which way it's going to go till all you can do is prepare. And if you prepare and the hurricane does hit, well, you're ready for it. So if you prepare for these situations that you're going through and you actually take proactive steps that are action-based, thought pattern processed, and you can follow a roadmap. This is why we've had a successful run as a prison consultant, is we're able to take our experiences, and when I say ours, I'm talking about your experiences as well. I was able to take my experience combined with all of the clients that we've had and the stories that we've heard and the interviews of people that we've done, and we're able to create a process where, including people like Jenny Good and Tom Root and Diane, to really build this amazing dream team of individuals that can come in and really pick up the ball in the different parts of the game where they can, exercise their strengths. We're able to show you a path of least resistance that can allow you to obtain the goal that you're trying to achieve. And when we say to somebody, we're going to create that best possible outcome. The best possible outcome could be different for everybody. For some people, that final result is going to be probation. For some people, it's going to be a highly reduced sentence. For some people, it's going to be the low end of the guidelines. For some people, it's going to be right within the guidelines. And you don't know what that's going to be. What you don't want to do is tell yourself, no, this isn't going to matter. Doing the letters isn't going to make a difference. Getting engaged with the mentoring and the networking and the life coaching with Jenny and getting a report that I'm going to give my attorney that's going to be used at my sentencing, none of that's going to matter. When you start assuming these assumptions and you start making these absolute statements, these are all defeating self-talk that you're doing. You're giving yourself a bullshit excuse to not do anything. And that's why we're talking here late tonight, because maybe this will be the last thing you remember before you go to bed tonight, is having a conversation with Dan. I suggest everybody, before you go to bed tonight, think about something that you could have done today, or you should have done today, or you've been wanting to do. Something proactive, something that's going to help benefit your life, something that's going to allow you to not be so defined by your past choices and your past thought patterns. What is something that you should have did today that you did not do? Whether it's a task, homework, an assignment, something on your case, a phone call. Do it. Make yourself a promise tonight. Write it down. And when you get up tomorrow, it's the first thing you should do. Most of you, we've had this conversation before. Every Monday morning, the first thing you should be doing, unless it's a holiday, every Monday morning you should email, call, text, all three of those, at least one of those, to your attorney. Mr. Attorney, is there any information I need to know today? Is there any updates in my case? Is my plea agreement done? Is there a sentencing day yet? Ask your attorney these questions. Many of you don't, because there's a part of you that hates talking about it, and it's scary and it's overwhelming, and you're on edge. You're dialing your attorney's number and you hate talking to him because it's a reminder of what's about to come. But I promise you, when you do that, you're getting the elephant out of the room. You're dealing with something that is stressing you out. Because if you don't do that, every time your phone rings, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., if your phone rings and you don't know who's calling you, you're going to, oh my God. If there's a knock at your door, you're always going to be thinking, that's my attorney, here's some bad news. If you take control of that, because look, that bad news or good news is going to come whether you want it to or not. So why not take the opportunity of creating an opportunity to do it on your time instead of their time? Part of the government's game is waiting. Pushing out court dates, pushing out sentencing dates, making you wait. That's part of what we'll call it the torture of the process. When many of you have heard me say the pretrial phase was the absolute worst part of my prison sentence. From 2011 till 2014, that was the absolute worst part. That was the true prison sentence for me. Going to prison, everything kind of fell in place. You kind of knew what to expect. You learn it real quick, and your life starts. Right now, what you're going through, the more you shut your eyes and stick your head in the sand and try not to focus on it because you don't want to make it real and you don't talk about it, that's what's causing you to stay awake at night. The more you own this, just like when you're a little kid, there's a boogeyman under the bed. If you got on your hands and knees, looked under that bed and shine a flashlight and you realize he's not there, it reduces some of that anxiety and that fear. There's no difference in this. You're just swapping one for the other. You're swapping the boogeyman for the federal government. One and the same, yes, but it's the reality. Me doing this video with you guys tonight is going to make me sleep like a baby. Yet I was like, oh, I need to do a video. It's Monday. I don't feel like doing it. I laid there. I got up. I ate. I literally was turning on Peaky Blinders, had it set. And I looked down at this. I'd read this earlier today, and I was like, I can't do it. I'll feel guilty. I'm not going to sleep right. I'm going to wake up at 2 a.m. like stressing, breathing fast, panic attacks, wishing I had just got up and done this. To this day, from my prison experience, not prison, but pretrial experience, to this day, I still have late night panic attacks where I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I just don't sleep. I just cannot sleep. And my thoughts will just run wild. I will literally awfulize any little negative thing in my life and I will make it way bigger than what it really is. And if I were just to talk about it to somebody, pick up a book and read it, hop on YouTube and talk to you guys about it, something so simple that takes so little of my time to put that energy forth, to know how much better I'm going to feel about myself and what a better state of mind I'm going to be in when I do this. And this is the same practice that we try to implement when we're talking about the coaching methods that we do with our clients. Many of you are like, I don't need coaching. Well, yes, you do. All of you practically need coaching. Almost every single one of you would benefit from it. And when I say take the coaching, we'll tell clients, well, what are you going to get out of the coaching? We'll immediately tell you one of the benefits from coaching that's going to potentially help your sentence is you're going to get this amazing detailed report that your attorney gets to use that goes to the judge and goes to your probation officer in the pre-sentence report that can ultimately possibly influence some of the direction of sentencing, probation's recommendations. So that in itself is a reason to do it. So that's how we get you to do it. That's me dangling the candy in your face. That's one of the results. But the process of going through it, the growth that you will see if you take it serious. Exactly. Listen to what Roy's saying. Be open to feedback. So you have to allow opportunities to enter into your presence, and you have to realize that you don't automatically know how things are going to go. So when you think about being open to feedback, that means you also need to be open-minded. You can't just assume that you don't need something or it's not going to help you or there's not going to be any benefit, because you're giving all these absolute statements that it's just more reasons that you're giving yourself justifying not doing something different. Anything worthwhile is going to be hard. Anybody that's gone through RDAP will tell you. RDAP was not easy. I don't want to do it again, but I'm glad that I did it. It creates you to be uncomfortable. It forces you in this level of such an uncomfortable nature for such a long period of time that you have to start making adjustments and you start trying things a different way. Not everything's going to work. You chew up the meat, spit out the bones, and what applies to you applies to you. Not everything in RDAP was some like, ooh, this is the best thing ever. There was a lot of stuff that I saw and heard in RDAP where I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. But there was plenty of things that I was like, I like that, and I'm going to remember that. And you know what? If I wouldn't have picked the career that I'm in right now, and if I wouldn't have stayed so in the present of RDAP, I don't know that I would remember a lot of it, because it's real easy to forget your entire prison experience after you've been out for just a couple of weeks, because your life takes over and goes so fast. In prison, every day is the same. Day in, day out, 99% of your day is almost exactly the same. A couple times you'll see some different faces, maybe get a holiday meal for the most part, but every other day, it's like Groundhog Day in prison. Day in, day out. So when you get to the free world, Groundhog Day is over. Now it's like different shit every day. You're going to work, you're driving here, you might come into some kind of routine, but it's not the same type of routine as prison. So easily, prison becomes just one memory that's compacted into months and months and months that turns into almost one day of your life. That's how I remember prison. I remember it in almost one little chunk of time, like one day. And your real life will just overshadow that if you don't force yourself to remember what you went through. So you have to stay focused, guys. You have to remember that what you're going through right now, which I know is absolutely the hardest thing you've ever gone through, the most mentally challenging. It's a sad time. There's a lot of sorrow involved. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of embarrassment. I know it, but don't let yourself forget it. Take notes. Make videos for yourself. I'm not saying go be RDAP Dan and start a YouTube channel, but get on YouTube and make your videos private. Someday in the future, you might want to use them for something. You might go, you know what? I'm at a point now where I want to share my story. So many people are embarrassed and ashamed of what they did. They don't want anybody to know. And I'm not here to judge anybody. Shelley was very uncomfortable talking about her story for a very long time until recently, and sharing my story has been very therapeutic for me because it keeps me focused on don't allow myself to make those types of decisions and choices in the future, because talking to you guys on a daily basis on the phone, those of you that become clients and listening to what you're going through, it's a constant reminder of how easy it is to make a mistake. I would say the majority of you, 99% of you, are good people that made some sketchy, iffy, not the best of choices and got caught up, and now you're potentially more than likely going to go spend some time in prison, but it doesn't make you a bad person. So don't beat yourself up too much. Don't become this victim where it's boo-hoo, poor me. Pull yourself up by your pants. Tell yourself you don't have to be defined by those choices, and don't use it as an excuse to mope around your house making everybody feel sorry for you. If you're doing that, people can't wait for you to go to prison. If you're one of those people right now that's just kind of like boo-hooing around the house and this isn't fair and the government's out to get me, at some point you're becoming a broken record. And even the people that love you are like, I love you, but man, just go to prison and get this over with, because I can't stand to watch you slowly die like this. And that's just what it is. It's watching somebody die and you're helpless. You can't do anything to stop it. So when you're watching somebody, we've all maybe had a loved one that we've seen pass away or seen them take their last breath, and you're just so grateful that they're finally gone because you know the suffering is over and you know there was nothing you could have done to fix it. Well, that's how people possibly feel about you as you're getting ready to go through this prison system. And what you can do to not have them look at you like that is own it, wear it. I'm not saying be proud that you committed a crime, but be proud that you're taking ownership of it and you're talking about it. And the more ownership you take of this and the more open you are talking about what you did, the more you're going to be able to focus on what you can do to offset that, because it's no longer going to be this super taboo, hush-hush secret. Put it out in the open. This is why a lot of the white-collar individuals really struggle, because they're so ashamed and they're so embarrassed of the inner circles that they may be part of, that these people of influence around them are going to judge them or cast them off the island. And that may be the choice. That may be the outcome for a lot of them. But I can tell you, for the white-collar individuals that we've dealt with, and right now we're probably 70 to 80% of our clientele is a wealthy white-collar individual. And for the ones that break through that mold, and start talking about what they've done openly with friends and family, when we see the progress from day 1 to day 30 or day 60, it's like talking to a completely different person that is for the first time been happy in their life, and they're getting ready to go to prison. They will tell you how free they finally feel. They've broken out of this mold and they're no longer living this life of a lie. I'm telling you, there is an amazing, it's like if you're religious, it's like finding the Holy Ghost just jumps right into your body, and for the first time you feel like you have a purpose and you don't feel like you're a puppet going through some motion that you don't understand. And many of you won't understand that until you actually attempt it and try it. And it requires doing the hard thing. It requires making difficult choices, being uncomfortable for a period of time until the uncomfortable feeling becomes comfortable. And it will happen. For everybody, it will happen if you allow yourself to go through that process. Let's see if I missed any messages here. Let's see. Jenny's amazing. She's better than my therapist sometimes. I appreciate that, Brett. I think, Brett, you sent over some of your letters, so I know that Jenny and Shelly are getting that all coordinated. My loved one plans on taking RDAP program, but what he doesn't know is that beyond the help he wants, it won't count towards his time, I've learned. Oh, he's got a gun charge. Yeah, gun charge. You can still take RDAP. You're just not going to get the sentence reduction. No time off. And there's some people out there. We literally had a guy that just got out of prison that swears that I promised him if he took that he would get into RDAP, and then I promised him he'd get the time off. And it blows my mind. That's I remember when we first started this, I was like, we don't want to have contracts and all this stuff because we're doing this more of a passion project than as a business. But some people, they hear what they want to hear. And the reality is nobody can tell you any definitive answer when it comes to how long you're going to be in prison, what programs you're going to qualify for, how much time you're potentially going to get off, other than the BOP, Bureau of Prisons. Anybody that's a consultant or a specialist or an attorney or even a judge can't tell you you're going to get into RDAP. A judge can't tell you what prison you're going to go to. A judge can't give you sentence reduction for taking RDAP. Once a judge imposes a sentence, you're off to the land of BOP. The judge doesn't matter anymore. It's up to the BOP. Many of you have learned that the hard way. We just had a client that got designated to Pensacola, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, he got another designation letter in the mail, and he's going somewhere else. A lot of people are trying to go to Coleman right now. They got that. What is it? The Legionnaire virus or something like that, and the water at Coleman right now. So from what I've heard, anybody designated to Coleman is probably going to get redesignated. Anybody designated to Taft, private federal prison, which isn't even really a real prison. Right now it's a real prison because it's being shut down practically. They're getting redesignated because they're not taking any new inmates there. So a lot of these individuals are going to be getting shipped around. It's causing a lot of chaos in the prison system. Tabitha, hey Tabitha, how are you doing? I got your email. I know we responded back and forth there a little bit. I know you're going through a lot too as you're getting ready. I know you got a lot of questions, and I don't mean to not answer some of them. It's just these lately with Jenny being sick, it's just been a free fall of dealing with tons and tons of clutter in the last couple weeks. But I know you're worried about your attorney may not have your best interest. I can tell you most attorneys don't, and there's not really much you can do about that. I know you said because you don't have the money for a private attorney. I can tell you most of our clients have private attorneys have the same exact issues you have. This is why you have to do your best job possible to hold your attorney accountable. Do a lot of your corresponding with your attorneys through email and text. Keep a track record, keep a paper trail, because if they do drop the ball and they're not properly handling your case and you do want to try to come after them later and you want to do something like ineffective counsel or 2255 down the road, you need to have documentation. You can't just come back after the fact and say, my attorney didn't do a good job. You need to show where your attorney dropped the ball, and you may not even know that now until you get into prison. So it's unfortunate. RDAP for me was saving a life besides the time off. Absolutely. Me too. Look, when I took RDAP, I was like, give me that year off. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about learning any new tools or jumping through any hoops. I was just willing to do anything that you were going to tell me to do that was going to give me a year off of my sentence. So it was definitely the incentive for sure. However, 3-4 months into RDAP, when I realized how hard it was, and there was no faking it through, at least not for me. There was no, where I was at Coleman Low, there was no faking it through RDAP. Dr. Smith and her team there of DTSs, drug treatment specialists, they did an amazing job. You know, they had a job just like anybody else. They had to deal with bullshit. There's always your politics are always going to be there. But all in all, after you like chew it all up and you got your meat and potatoes left, they did an amazing job there, really kind of putting us into a situation where it's like, you're either going to take this program serious or we're going to kick your ass out. Those were like your options. And I thought I was so damn sneaky and clever, and I learned real fast that RDAP had my number. Dr. Smith had my number. The DTSs, Miss Neesmith, amazing, probably one of the best DTSs I could ever imagine anybody having. I'm sure everybody says that about their DTS. But she was amazing. She had your back as long as you were honest and truthful. That's all she asked. If you're going to sit there and lie to her or make stuff up over and over and over again, she'll be the first one to push you in the pit. But amazing. RDAP, same thing. I'm glad you said that, Jose, because RDAP was the same for me. It really did create a different way of thinking. I still wear my RDAP wristband to this day. Haven't taken it off. Maybe once or twice, but for the most part, since 2015, since I've been out of prison, I've had this thing on my wrist. Pensacola and Montgomery are good camp locations. Correct. Yeah, you know, if you're living on the East Coast, you definitely Pensacola, Montgomery, those are some pretty nice places. If you're on the West Coast, Sheridan, Lompoc, you know, Taft used to be an ideal location, but now they're under fire, not enough funding, places being run down, programming there sucks. Sheridan doesn't like to give a lot of halfway house time. We're still trying to unravel First Step Act, and there's still a lot of clutter and a lot of bullshit and a lot of roadblocks to get through. Just a lot of clutter from the government and the BOP, and they're not on the same page, and the case managers don't really know how to dole it out yet. They either haven't been trained or they don't care. We're not really sure where the disconnect is, but the First Step Act is still struggling big time in the prison system as far as your additional good time credits for like pre-release credits towards halfway house home confinement. Getting that, it looks like it's going to be way more of a struggle than anybody thought. You're supposed to be able to earn up to 15 days per 30 days, and it doesn't look like it's going to be an actual 15 days per 30 days. They're going to count each day as an 8-hour day. So if you're taking, for example, if you have let's say you're taking a class that qualifies for First Step Act, and that class is 1 to 2 hours a week, until you accumulate 8 hours, it's not going to count towards a day. So it could take you 3, 4, 5 weeks to get your 8 hours. So you do the math on that, you can see how that can take quite a long time. Certain jobs only going to allow you to get the credit once, up to 500 hours, like Unicor. If you take Unicor, and this is all information that I've extracted from Tom Root, who is definitely by all means an expert of the First Step Act. And the First Step Act is not easy to decipher. It's literally like it's like going into one of those game rooms you go into where you have to break the codes, and you got the mystery rooms. It's literally like breaking a mystery. You know, you got to be prepared for this. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. Don't think you guys are going to go in there for every 30 days you're going to get 15 days knocked off your sentence for pre-release credit. It's not going to happen like that. That's how it's written, but it's not going to work that way. Just be prepared. But really, the main thing is what you're doing to prepare right now. And this is why we tell you guys, set up your free consultation with us. I think I have it right here. Right here you go. Boom. I just posted it in this live chat right here. There's a link you can click on. Consultation's free. We can find out some more about your situation. You can talk freely. Tell me what you're going through. All of our conversations are confidential. We don't share any of your information out on YouTube unless we've spoke about it prior and you agree to something like that. So when you see us talking about our clients' outcomes and stories, unless it's just a very general situation, it's private until you give us the okay to talk about it. So set up your consultation, find out what we might be able to do to assist you in your situation to create that best possible outcome, like so many others. All right, guys, I hope you guys all have a great Monday night. Get ready for Tuesday. Remember, write down something that you should have did today that you didn't do, that you've been procrastinating. Do it tomorrow. Don't wait any longer. Get it done, and you're going to feel a million times better. I promise. Unless you guys got any last minute questions here, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I appreciate you guys tuning in with me this Monday night. I feel better for coming on here. Remember, pick up a book, get some positive vibes in your mind. If you're having some shitty thoughts tonight and you catch yourself staring at the ceiling, don't lay there. Break that train of thought. Go do something proactive. Get a drink of water. Go do some push-ups. Listen to some music. Turn on the TV for a minute. But don't focus on the negativity, because it's not going to help you in the long run. Guys, I'm RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting, people helping people, communities method, one day at a time. I love every single one of you guys, and I will do my best to be back Wednesday night. You like how I said do my best? I didn't promise, but I am going to do my best. All right, guys, have an amazing night. Peace. We got a last minute question. Perfect timing, Tabitha. Does the BOP? No. So there is no rule. Tabitha says, do they have to stick you 500 miles from your home? So the BOP is supposed to do their best to send you within 500 miles. They have to do their best to try. But if there's no room at that prison, or you've got co-defendants there that you can't be near, you could end up 700 miles away. You could end up 2,000 miles away. Usually you're going to be within a 500-mile radius of your release address. So typically that's not going to be an issue, but it's not a guarantee. But any other questions, Tabitha? You've got me on cell. Feel free to shoot me a text. And if it's something I can jump on and answer quick, not a problem. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Night-night time. Peace, everybody. Bye.